Hey folks, Levi here once again. Welcome back to another Batman video. I'll go ahead and say Happy Halloween, everybody. I know that's tomorrow, but we're almost coming to an end of October. I hope all y'all have a good week, and you have a good and safe Halloween. Stay safe. Enjoy your candy. Wear your mask. In Halloween. Have fun. But be safe. Alright guys, but anyway, today, like I said, there's another Batman video. You don't know, I've been on phase 2 of my Batman marathon, which is the Batman TV shows for Batman. And I've been on Gotham, and I've already done TV shows for it, and I've already given my thoughts, so favorite episodes of 2 seasons. And now, this is my thoughts / favorite episodes, and some of least favorite episodes of Gotham Season 3. Which, I'll go ahead and say right now, I was not a big fan of the season. This for me was personally a letdown. I didn't really care for the season very much. It's just, I'll get more into the problems more in the video, but honestly, I didn't care too much for this season. This is where Gotham kind of became a letdown for me. They start off really great, but I'll get into more of my problems, but first of all, I'll say it's just become a real letdown with some characters and stuff, some things and plot storylines I don't agree with, I didn't like in here that they went with. It just did not work for me. Yeah. Pretty lackluster season in my opinion. Yeah. But anyway, I'll go ahead and get into it. Well, I will say though there's some recasting here. We do have Jervis Tech in this season as aka Mad Hatter. Ivy Pepper gets recasted by Claire Foley. Oh. Yeah. Those are the new characters you have. And Valerie Val, who I believe is like, from what I heard, she's like the aunt of Vicky Vale. Pretty much here in the 3rd season. Well, I'll go ahead and describe the plot synopsis for what Season 3 of Gotham is about. So, plot synopsis though, this season, time around, with the Indian Hill fugitives on the loose, Jim Gordon takes matters to his own hands as a bounty hunter. But he will find determined mastermind Hugo Strange and his deranged subject, Fish Mooney, Bullock, and Barnes attempt to hold the front line in crime against burgeoning supervillains like Oswald Cobblepot, Penguin, Edward Nygma, who eventually becomes the Riddler in this season, the future Poison Ivy, and Jarvis Tech, aka the Mad Hatter. All the while, young Bruce Wayne discovers yet more secrets behind his parents' murders as he peels back into the curtains in the infamous criminal organization, the Court of Owls, who is, some spoilers, it is run by the Demon's Head, aka Ra's al Ghul. So, yeah. So I'll go ahead and start off with my favorites, but that's the plot synopsis of this season. And since I'm limited on time, I'll go ahead and get started, because I gotta go to work tomorrow, so I got some things to do today, so I need to go ahead and get through this. But anyway, my favorite episode, I'm going to start with that. The first one being is Better to Reign in Hell. This episode opens with Gordon, if y'all remember at the end of Season 2, when he took Strange down. They find out the Court of Owls, but they defeat Strange, get him arrested. He decides that he's going to go find Lee. So, we open up in Season 3 with Gordon arriving down south, where, Lee's at the house, with flowers, coming to see her, he knocks on the door, but then Gordon sees her, smile, but then he sees her kissing another man and he leaves heartbroken, realizing that she's really shut short. Gordon doesn't even knock on the door. Jim just leaves upset and just walks away. Then about 6 months later, you see Gordon now is a bounty hunter. He's quit the GCPD. You see him since at the end of Season 2, the subjects that he had are broken out. They're all like really strong and stuff. He fights this big black guy, whatever, Gordon, he attacks the, guy in a store or whatever, a pharmacy. Gordon has got a ton to beat him with. Gordon's like, really? He puts up a big fight with Gordon until he gets run over by a bus. Gordon comes to the GCPD. Barnes is doing, an interview with it, talking to the press. Harvey's like, Jim, you should come back. But, Jim's like, no, I can't be a cop. I can't just do it anymore, Harvey. I think I'm just better off being a bounty hunter. And he just decided to quit being a cop. Then you have a reporter named, played by the beautiful Jimmy Chung, Valerie Bell. Valerie questions Captain Barnes about it. Even the Penguin comes in to, says, and the police have done nothing about these monsters, and as Penguin has come to protest about it, he says, hello, Jim. He's like, go to hell, Oswald. They have a brief conversation there. You also find out that Lucius Fox is also working with the GCPD. I guess as a forensic scientific expert, whatever you want to call him. I guess you can say replacing Nigma. You found out that the monsters are looking for drugs. And of course, Colorado is of course working with Butch, who works with him fully now. And he also reads to the press that it's Fish Mooney, but even though they don't believe Oswald, because they say Fish died a long time ago, he's like, I've seen it with my own eyes because Oswald did at the end of season 2. Oswald was talking to Barbara Gordon, who Barbara has her own club now, her and Tabitha, and she's like, because of Butch, it stops me from killing you, as, Penguin still wants revenge on Tabitha for killing his mother, but do the same for his friend Butch, and, Butch and Tabby, they broke up, and Butch is like, hey Tabby, how you doing? Just to have a conversation, and he's like, Butch, go over there. And then, later Penguin comes to Butch is like this, so I go everywhere in my videos sometimes, like, you're like, Butch, she dumped you, broke your heart, get over it. And Selena even talks to him, but Selena pickpockets his bullet, which I thought was funny. But Penguin offers $1 million reward on Fish's head. Even though Selena takes mine, she gives it to this boy. That boy is the clone version of Bruce Wayne, who I'll write about. I said, I don't care about this, what they do with this character. He follows Selena or whatever. Tries to even talk to Ivy. Ivy just runs away from him. He's like, I'm Bruce Wayne. I'm Bruce Wayne. As Bruce's doppelganger, or clone, whatever you want to call it. Bruce talks to the Wayne Enterprises about, that he found out something about the Corvells when he was talking with Strange. Eventually, Valleyville goes to Gordon in the bar, offering to help him out, but, he's not interested at first. Valerie eventually tells Gordon about the bounty, the $1 million, and Gordon's like, okay, I'm interested. They go to this pharmacy where we see Fishman again rob the place, and Jim Gordon shows up to arrest her, but she gets one of her, the soldiers who one of her followers to attack Gordon. Because Selena saw Gordon coming. Eventually, the woman in the mask, who was Catherine, orders them to kill Bruce. She sends like her best assassin or whatever, who has like, this firm jacket on or whatever, and with a knife in it. Yeah. Bruce's doppelganger just hangs around, watches Bruce and Selena as, Bruce and Selena talk about them being watched. She even says hey to Bruce because she hasn't seen him all because I'm now for on vacation. Gordon and Val get a lead on the monsters, but I like it when Gordon cuffs her to the car. And he fights with this monster who's almost like a vampire almost. Ethel Peabody, because Strange is in a prison now, but in a prison where you don't know where he's at. Miss Peabody was off sentence, but they kidnapped Miss Peabody to question her about, because Fish is, every time she uses her gift where she can use to control people, she's hurting and in pain. She finds out from Miss Peabody that she'll die, if she doesn't come. Selena tells Ivy about her deal with Fish, but not to follow it, but she follows anyway. She's got this man, he's one of the monsters who, when he touches you, he can make you age really fast, and kill you. They chase Ivy down because Ivy's I'm going to tell who the cops figure out that. So Fish decides to kill Ivy. Ivy runs. Ivy finds out a pipe, water hole, whatever. And Selena cries thinking that, Ivy's dead now. And by the way, her name was Pamela Isley, not Ivy Pepper, But Miss Peabody eventually gets killed by the guy who can do the aging. They kill her off. But she does tell her that. But she does reveal to Mooney that Strange is the only one who can save you. She tells Mooney to stop using power, but Mooney, who likes his power, does not want to stop using it. She just needs to be fixed. Oh, Talon, who is, like I mentioned, this assassin, Alfred has a fight with him. He eventually takes Alfred out. Talon sneaks behind Bruce, pulling from him, knocks him out, and then he takes him to Catherine, the leader of the Court of Owls. Yeah, and the episode ends that overall it was really good in my opinion. I just didn't care about Bruce's doppelganger. Alright. And then another favorite of mine is called Burn the Witch. Bruce is brought by Talon to the council's room. He's meeting with Catherine. Then they talk to Bruce that they do control the governments and they control Gotham, and they make a deal with Bruce that they won't kill him if he just stays out of their affairs and stays out of the way. They won't hurt him or Alfred. And just give him a warning to stay out of the way. And Bruce agrees, and they leave him alone, just not to investigate his parents' murder. So Bruce agrees to this, and they don't kill him or anything. Meanwhile, Valerie visits Gordon. They end up finding out she wants to get a story, so she decides to help him. Gordon wants to get the location of Mooney. He's talked to Barbara. Barbara, wants to give Jim a kiss for it, but Jim's like, no, not going to do it. Ivy eventually survives the fall. She does age. Ivy becomes a grown woman. She, lands in this on the water. She's coming out of the water. She's fully aging to Madge and Maggie. Because she's a grown woman. She's like, my name's Ivy, and this man says to help her out and tells her she looks real beautiful. Ivy's like, you should water these plants, because Ivy really loves these plants, as Poison Ivy does. And he just kind of like throws the plant on the ground, and he's like, hey, why'd you do that? You couldn't do that, And you see that look on Ivy's eye, and Ivy just, you find out, kills the guy, and she decides to use her new body for an attraction to Rob and still to get what she wants. Ivy ends up creating this formula, which, is like her perfume that she can use to seduce men or use this power of seduction or persuasion over people. When they smell a perfume, she can tell you, when she asks you to do something, tells you to do something, you do whatever she says, or do whatever she wants. Oh yeah, and you do have Barnes in here who's like walking on a crotch a little bit. And I swear, I just don't like him in this season. Well, at first, I don't like Barnes, because Barnes is like telling Jim, so life threw you a ball car, whoop-de-boo-woo, like this, telling Jim, what are you doing here? You're a disappointment, you're this, you're that, blah-blah-blah, I swear, Barnes is just a complete dick in this season, at the beginning of the season. I'm just starting to dislike the character. First we saw him, yeah, he was an awesome character, I really liked him, but now he's just become a dick. And every time he just snaps on Gordon, he goes like people, I'm like, you tire of him. Eventually Cobblepot holds a press conference, even gets onto the mayor about it, even he decides that he wants to eventually run for mayor. Which I was fine with Oliver wanting to run for mayor. I guess that's kind of a tribute to, because Burgess Meredith's Penguin, he ran for mayor, and I think like in season 2 of Batman, the 60s show, and Batman Returns, Oswald runs for mayor, played by Dan DeVito, so that's cool. Eventually Harvey Bullock, who Harvey knows the location, so Mooney is able to use her power of persuasion, give Bullock a kiss, and he's like, sure, I'll help you, fish. You find out that he's being held in an abandoned mansion. Turned to really search for Sully, but it's like a kind of a prison for him. Mooney and them arrive. They, and her and her gang, they kill some of the officers. Cobblepot and Butch kind of lead an army, a mob, basically, to where they're going. But Barnes is even, like I said, being telling, Jim to go home or not be there. Gordon wants to save his partner, of course, his friend. But they can't keep it that barn, Cobblepot is getting these army people to attack, almost, this mob to attack, but Barnes is trying to tell him not to. When she confronts, Strange's like, oh, hello, how are you, my dear? He's like, you're going to help me. You're going to, she tells him, you were going to fix me. You were going to fix me, I swear. He's like, okay. It's like, I'll make a deal with you, Gordon decides to make a deal with Mooney that she can have Strange. I like it when Strange is like saying, what? Basically just to help her get out, but it tells her to escape, but betrays her by calling Cobblepot, because Oswald was to kill her. Oswald eventually, does agree. Cobblepot is able to pull a distraction by sending the mob into the building to attack. Cobblepot finds her and Strange in the woods, finds that guy that ate, she just tells him to leave. Cobblepot is like, hello, fish. He's like, that night at the river, why'd you let me throw you off the roof? Why didn't you kill me? You had every chance. Why didn't you? And she tells him, because you're mine. You're my umbrella boy. Remember? Look at you now, Oswald. You were just an umbrella boy when you started out. Look at you now, the terror of Gotham. And this is kind of like a touching moment for Oswald when she tells him, Oswald, the best thing, possibly the best thing I've ever done in my life, was turning Oswald Cobblepot into the Penguin. And he's like, Oswald is touched by it. He's like, goodbye, fish. And lets her leave. And she's like, I couldn't destroy that. But that was a good moment, though. And even worse, Fish didn't ever come back. And we don't see her, to the last episode. Yeah, this is the last time you see Fish from now until the last episode of the seasons. The mob does kill the monsters and burns them while they all shout for Penguin. And Penguin, Penguin, Penguin. And going to board watching really? That little band getting attention. Bruce's doppelganger ends up sneaking into their house. I don't know who I am, but they think it's Bruce's doppelganger. Valerie ends up visiting Gordon again about what happened in the woods, and then they, share a kiss, and they eventually sleep together. And at the train station, I think you see Lee coming back to Gotham, ready to start a new life in Gotham with her, supposed boyfriend, fiance now, but you just see it, Lee coming off the train station. So yeah. Alright. And then another favorite of mine is called Anything for You. Oswald begins, I did skip over some episodes, but I'm going to do it anyway. But Oswald Cobblepot eventually begins to start his new campaign. He got Edward out of prison, by having him sane. Butch does feel overshadowed by it. Butch is doing these secret deals to help Oswald, become the mayor. And Edward doesn't agree with it. He sees what he's doing. He says something to Oswald, but Oswald's like, look, you're cheap to win it. She's like, Oswald, you can win on your own. He says something to Butch, but Butch is like, Nigma, you stay out of my way and out of my business. Oswald has a statue of his late mother. And then eventually you have the Red Hood Gang return, which is what I like, is we get to see the Red Hood Gang back. They shoot, the statue of Penguin's mom, destroy it, and Penguin's like, oh, you will pay for this, you will die, but Oswald has to kind of keep his cool, as he's just trying to put on a persona, a show for the people, an act. Meanwhile, Captain Barnes you find out eventually Captain Barnes, he himself got the Alice Tech virus, which I'll explain later, but it's from, Jarvis Tech's sister, who he got the virus gets into his body, and he's kind of fighting it. Throughout the episode, it's starting to get to him. Edward, Penguin went out of a party, but a meeting with the man and said, whoever did that to my mother, said she will pay for this, so you tell me who find out who this radio gang is, and we'll kill him, get revenge. And even one of the men says, gets smart with Penguin, and is like, really, we're here for this crap, for this, and Penguin grabs the guy's head and smashes it into the statue, and just shut up. Nigma appears at the GCPD. He's like, hello, everyone. And even more's like, you're a cop killer. You shouldn't even be here, Ed. And he's like, well, I'm sane now. And now, since we're ordered by the elected mayor, you have to help me out now. You have to help me. So, Nigma wants to investigate it himself, help his friend Oswald, so he tells the GCPD, tells to Lucius Fox. Fox is saying, don't you ever threaten me and Bruce Wayne again. He even runs into Lee. He's like, oh, hello, Dr. Tompkins, and Lee punches him in the face, like literally just whack, punches him in the face, and she's like, that was for Kristen. And he's like, you're not here, and there's like, you'll pay for that. He's like, don't even think about it. Guess what? My husband, my fiance, his father is calling for coming. If you mess with him, you'll regret it. And threatens him. She even tells Barnes about, punching him in the face, but more like the first time hearing of it. And that's okay. Over the bar, that bar only just called the Sirens, by the way. But they decided to celebrate, Oswald's victory. You find out that Butch actually planned this all out. Yeah, Butch was not planning to turn on Oswald, but wants to make sure that he wins, and maybe he's a little mad being overshadowed by Enigma, so he says to somewhat get revenge. Enigma is able to kind of more investigate, able to find out about Butch's hat or whatever. Butch has like a scarf, I don't know what you call it, that he has on him. Bruce eventually visits Jim Gordon, asking him to help him find Ivy for Selena. And he's like, oh, because you listen. He's like, no, I don't listen to that way. He's like, sure you do. They even talk about it, and he's like, Gordon even tells him, gives him Bruce some advice where, they end down. He's like, Bruce, if you like her, you tell her, trust me. Trust me, I know. You like somebody, you want to tell them before it's just too late. The Red Hood gang, of course, are terrorizing Gotham. We'll even, Barwick and Tabitha eventually find out location and find out what, Butch has been up to. Butch explains to them, Barbara and Tabitha, that he used the Red Hood gang, that he would kill the gang leader so that he could be Cobalt's right-hand man again. Or Oswald would trust him. So he's not planning to betray Oswald, like I said. Just, wants to get his good graces again. And they promise not to tell. Cobblepot and them are eventually arrive, but before anything can happen, Butch grabs a machine gun. He's like, well, boys, plan B. There's like plan B, and then Butch gets a machine gun and kills them all. And he's a hero in Oswald's eyes. But Nim was able to find that out. Barnes ended up asking Lee about Alice's blood. It has it infected. She explains to him that it was like testing on 3 reps, which showed strength, but the other one killed him. So, pretty much what the blood does, Alice's blood does, Alice Tetch's blood does to you how the virus affects you. It can make you strong. It can make you angry. It can make your somewhat anger and desire come out of you. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what it does to a person. But then the party happens with the sirens. Nemo obviously confronts Butch about it. But he tells him that, you know what, I'm tired of them too. You know what? Why don't we turn on them, you kill them, you wear the hood, and you finish them off. Because Nemo doesn't want to be number 2, he wants to be number 1. But since he refuses, though, he has that Nemo has that as a whole Tabitha at gunpoint, you know, to keep her there. Eventually, you know, Tabitha's able to fight these guys off, you know, stabbing them. You know, Butch comes close to killing him, but there's no guns on the bullet. And it's like, who's this traitor? And of course, they take off the mask, and the red mask, and it's Butch. And Butch, you know, chokes Edward, is about to kill him, very close to killing him, until, you know, Nimba grabs a glass and knocks him out, you know, with a glass bottle. But the bullets end up being eventually blanks. Bruce eventually takes Selena to the rooftop and tells her how he's convincing obviously parents that he likes her, and they both share gifts, and you know, they can be, I think they're an adorable little couple. Valerie eventually meets with the medical examiner about Alice's blood. He tries to flirt with her, but she has no interest, and Gordon shows up, you know. And you find out since the Tet blood that Barnes only, you know, that he's no longer to walk with his crutch. He's like, strength now. And all of a sudden, you know, Cobblepot, you know, all of a sudden that he cares about him, you know, cares about his friend. But out of nowhere, Oswald eventually, you know, starts to fall in love with him, which I was like, really? Ted kidnaps another woman and basically slits her throat, and then writes in the letter to James Gordon, "Those who hurt you will feel my pain when they sweet and terrible vengeance upon their reigns." Overall, good episode in my opinion. The other character of mine is called Blood Rush. Found out in the beginning of this episode, Barnes, who was being affected by the Alice Tet virus, his anger starts to build toward criminals, and this comes out to more play when he sees a man in the store come out, you know, like, I guess Barnes is just doing some shopping, whatever, and sees the man, he sees like blood on his face, and finds him suspicious, follows him to an abandoned building, and he's like, freeze, GCPD, freeze, and then he sees, you know, the guy's gun, he's like, he sees that he cut up a body, you know, because you see like the torso and stuff, and the head and the arm has been cut off. He states to him that he's just a cleaner, that he's working for a guy named called the Toad. Barnes begins losing control as he realizes that, though, you know, he's like, you know what, I'm tired of arresting criminals. Then you'll be out the street and you'll do it again. So pretty much losing control with his strength, Barnes kills him. Lee, of course, you know, is now getting engaged, and the man's name is Mario, who was also the son of Carmine Falcone. Yeah, he's also a doctor. She tells Mario about that, you know, that he's back in the GCPD. even though Mario's not fine with it because, they had a past relationship, he thinks something might come up. That, and Mario somewhat begins to feel jealous, or have jealousy. Nigma meets this woman named Isabella, who exactly looks like Miss Kringle. I think she's played by the same actress, but she's got blonde hair. Nigma met her and fell for her. They've been dating for a bit. While in the house, though, Nigma, she puts her glasses on, and Nigma just kind of has a bit of a panic attack, and then as he looks in the mirror, he sees the hallucination of Miss Kringle saying, "Hey Ed, I see you like her, but the difference is I'm dead. And Ed, you'll love her, but eventually you'll choke her to his face, Ed. You're a monster. You're a killer." It's like, no. And he comes to Oswald telling Oswald that he needs to break up with Isabella, just to, for the sake of not killing her, he's got to avoid her. Gordon and Bullock eventually investigate the cleaner's team. Barnes ends up visiting Tetch, demanding to know about the virus. Tess wants him to know the darkness that Alice brought back to life. Tells him about it. He's like, "What do you anger towards, Captain Barnes?" And Barnes tells him criminals and stuff. He's like, "Oh, my sister's in there?" Because he sees, but sometimes Barnes will get mad, like him and, when he gets mad, you see that the ray just come out of his eyes, the virus. He's like, "Is that my dear sister I see in there?" There's even a scene where Barnes, loses it also, in another episode where he lost it on a criminal by choking him. He also asked Oswald to help him break up with her. Oswald, who was happy about this because he's in love with Ed. Again, Penguin being gay. I'm like, no. Why? Penguin is not a gay character. I don't care what you say, he is not. But Penguin goes to Isabella, telling her that it's over. She's like, "Oh my God, you're in love with him." He's like, "Listen, you little idiot, it's over with." And she's like, I'm not gonna lose it without a fight. So Oswald decides to kill her to have Ed for himself. Barnes eventually tracks, the tow to a bar and uses the strength. He, wants to know who is a cleaner, so with the strength he beats some guys up, even, breaks a bottle and cuts a guy's face a little bit with it to find out, who the toad is. Even puts the guy on the back of his car. There's a person named Dr. Simon, a plastic surgeon who gives new identity to criminals. Also with the virus, though, Barnes does go confronts Dr. Simon. Who got on box and was like, "You have to arrest me, police officer. Are you up? I don't have to say anything to you. I waive my right." And, you get these voices in your head from the virus, and it says to him, "Guilty, guilty, guilty." And he almost attacks him, ready to kill him, but instead arrest him. Lee interrogated her. Mario says a few words with Falcone. Lee even talks to Barbara. She's like, "Barbara, what are you doing here? You're not welcome here." So you're not with Jim Gordon anymore. Don't you just miss being with him? That darkness inside that man, how attractive he is. He's like, "Yeah, the tragic Jim Gordon? No, I'm happy without him." the woman that was going to get her face changed by Simon. She refused to press charges, so he gets released from prison. They, of course, again, they get evidence on him. Eventually Barnes sees him and says take matters to his own hands. He even tells Falcone, you're a criminal. Was like, and then Falcone says, well, you know what? Because of men like me, Gotham has been built. These cities and all that stuff has been built because of me. That drink you have in your hand is because of men like me. Mario talks with Gordon in private about what happened about him wanting to shoot Lee, even though, and Mario gets mad. He punches Jim in the face, which I think Mario is a prick, just nothing but a jealous prick. And first of all, this happens later, so which I'll mention before, but, Mario's an idiot anyway, so, Barnes then sees Simon, and the voices, persuade him to say guilty. He goes to the bathroom to confront Simon, says, you can't do anything, you're a cop. And he beats more of them up. I mean, he beats the guy up in the bathroom, takes him to the wall, and he's like this, you're not getting out of here. And then he starts, Barnes just pounding him more, he's like this. He's like, I am judge, jury, and execution, and throws him, and pretty much just kills the guy. Gordon even goes to Simon's body and says, what happened? Who did this to you? He's like, Barnes. And he dies. But you see Barnes, seeing these images of demon faces on people, guilty, kind of enjoying just what he did, and wants to kill criminals, basically now. Basically start to murder them, being a vigilante. Figuring that he himself is judge, jury, and executioner now. Enigma, meanwhile, visits Isabella, discovering to her that she finds out about Miss Kristen Kringle, so she dresses up like him. He's like, come on, Ed, confront your fear. Ed's about to show, she's like, Ed, and they both share a kiss. He's like, let's keep the lights on. They probably just do this. Then Gotham has Gabe, cut the brakes off of Isabella's car, and Isabella, as she's driving, is, keep going. She's shoving past a train tracks, but her car ends up having no brakes, so she ends up getting killed. Yeah. But the episode ends with, Gordon talking to Simon at the end. But overall, really good episode in my opinion. Yeah, because I haven't, maybe some people don't agree with it, but I like that they made Barnes a villain. This show really has a thing for making unlikable characters that I don't like, that are unlikable into villains, and I think it makes them better. I like Barnes being a villain because in the season, like I said, he's just been a dick. Very unlikable. And then another favorite of mine is called The Executioner. The Executioner. Gordon, is investigating him, and Chris started Bullock about it. And, Bullock doesn't believe him. He's like, well, he was a psychopath. He'd probably just say anything, just make up lies. We're talking about Barnes here, the man who would give himself a ticket for jaywalking because, again, Barnes is all about the law of Barnes. You see that he's hanging 3 men up, who have committed crimes, murder, sex trafficking, robbery, or whatever, and he basically just hangs all 3 of them. Ivy ends up going to an anti-dealer who, she's using her potions, able to get him to open. She steals his thing. The man tries to attack her, but Ivy gets away. Gordon gets a call from the GCPD, goes sees her body, starts crying, wants to investigate, find out about her death. Gordon ends up, looking to Barnes, who suspects committed the murder, trying to prove it. He's like, "Officer, what are you doing in my office?" Gordon. Let's go look after, let's go hunt down some criminals. Barnes knows that Gordon might actually know what he did, but, just says to invite Gordon. They have a shotgun in the car. Gordon even, he's like, "Go ahead, detective, ask your questions." Like, "All right, did you see Simon at the park? Did you see him in the bathroom?" And, he says no. Of course, he's lying. And he's like, "Well, sometimes, we have to start killing the criminals. Some of them deserve." It's like, "No. If we do that," Gordon says, "if we start killing criminals, we're no better than they are." It's just not the way. They go after a guy named Sugar, who may be connected to the crime scene. Gordon eventually tells Bullock about it, but Barnes realizes that he finds out about Barnes later that it was a wrong address. Ivy goes to Selena, who is, with Bruce, and asks for help. Eventually they have these men with arrows that show up, and, because Bruce is there, he's like, "You two are a couple now?" "No." And Bruce is like, "Yes," and he's like, "No." And they're like, "Can we just get out of here, please?" Because these guys show up with arrows wanting to kill them, so they have to go on the run. But Ivy doesn't want to give up the necklace until Bruce offers up money for it, $5,000 for it. And I do like it, though, when she reveals herself, because she told in a later episode, the Anything for You episode, Ivy's like, a kid is like, "Lady, what's your problem? This is too fun." But, I like it though when Bruce even says about Ivy, he's like, "Well, you do look nice." Not that she looks hot, but that's just me. Sugar, eventually Gordon and Barnes confront the guy. Sugar tells him he didn't commit the crime, and Barnes asks him, "What were you last night?" He's like, "I was at your mama's," and then they, Barnes mad. So Barnes just, with his shotgun, just blows a hole in him, kills him, and tells Gordon, "All right, Gordon, put him over there." He's like, "Gordon, you can work with me. We can team up." And Gordon refuses, and so he says he's going to kill Jim, because he's a witness now, but he's just murdered a man right in front of him. Of course, they get a call from Barnes that, that it was Gordon that did it. I guess he tips him off. So, meanwhile, Nemo visits the crash site, ends up talking to a blind man, a homeless man, realizing that it was an accident. He ends up checking Isabella's car, Isabella, her car, saying that, the brake lines were cut. Barnes is with a shotgun chasing Gordon, trying to kill him. They do a bit of a fight. The GCP showed they know that Barnes is guilty, because thanks to the help of Lee, she's able to test Barnes is one that he does have the virus, and you think he's going to shoot. Well, he shoots him in the shoulder. He's like, "I'm going to fight with men. I'm going to fight men like you that do this." But then eventually Barnes ends up getting arrested, sent to Arkham. They break the necklace, and you see there's a key in it. That key that belongs to the Court of Owls. Dave thinks that Butch is responsible for the murder of Isabella, so he says to go after him. Barnes is like wearing a straight jacket at the end, screaming guilty, guilty, while being in prison. So that was the executioner. Another favorite of mine is called Ghost. Valcone and Lee attend Mario's funeral. Mario was shot because I'm going to tell you now that while she was on her honeymoon with him, Mario was infected with the text virus, and since he got jealousy, he tried to stab Lee and kill her, but Gordon shoots him, kills him at the funeral. Gordon tries to enter, but Stella Bullock, who tells him that Valcone is angry at him, and Lee is. It's not good for him to be there right now, and they have to leave. They do. Valcone eventually sees him from a distance and says that he put a hit on Gordon. Oswald eventually gets a meeting with a woman named Taryn Stimley. Well, a woman named Margaret Harzett, who's a interviewer who has this TV show that she can make him big. But she tells Oswald, I'm not a fan, and I know that you're a criminal. Once a criminal, always a criminal. I'm going to reveal the whole world to you, Oswald. And, Ed won't call him for a while. He's our new chief of staff. He's like, I'll prove to you that I'm a good guy. I just put that. Then he sees his father, Elijah Vandell, Paul Rubens, in the hallway. Like his ghost version walking up to him. Gordon ends up finding his ass. Well, I forgot to mention though, Lee, comes to the GCPD saying, I want Jim Gordon arrested for the murder of my husband. I'm like, this is where I started to dislike Lee. I don't like Lee Tompkins now. Melania, I can't say her name right, but she is gorgeous. She's been great in the first 2 seasons, but here, I don't like Lee Tompkins in this season. She's a bitch. First of all, I don't think it was a good idea for the writers to have her in a relationship with somebody. Her whining situation was that Jim left me. Jim, wasn't there for me. Well, Lee, not everything's about you. I think she was selfish, and when Mario dies, she doesn't even realize that Jim saved her life. And she somewhat can't accept it, And throughout the rest of the season, she's a bitch. Even takes the virus herself, steals it and takes it, So, at this point now, from starting this episode, I have not liked Lee. She's become very unlikable. Selena eventually sees her mother, Mario, angry for her banning her, but she tells her, she had to because she had to run, because she committed some crimes, and it's hard when you have a 5-year-old with you. It's like, well, I'm your kid. You should have been there for me. Even when Lee says, Jim, you're the real virus, I'm like, yeah. And a couple of them out, Oswald eventually wakes up tonight to find a broken certificate by his father. He's like, you need to look out for him, son. You need to watch out for him. He comes visit Oswald again, who, Oswald gets knocked by the police saying that his father's remains from his grave were stolen. And his father's like, you need to watch out for him. Who, Dad? Who, Father? Who? The birthday boy, Third episode, though, Gordon is getting shot at by his ass, even fights with his ass, chases him down. They fight in the kitchen. Eventually, Gordon is able to overpower and beat his ass. They go to a guy named Dwight that claims, something about a corpse with a bloody smile on it. And you find that this guy Dwight is like kind of They look up to Jerome Velasco, who, of course, died by Bill Gallivan's hand, season 2, the GCPD massacre. That these people were inspired by him, Eventually, Maria comes over and Selena opens his box and forgives her mother. It's a nice, touching, hugging moment. Lee eventually says that, I hate Jim and I want him dead. He's like, I'll do it. You can't do it yourself. I'll put the hit on him. A burden. He's like, I'm used to living burners, but you're not, Lee. But I am. So I'll do it. Eventually Lee calls it off because, somewhat Valcoon can still tell that she's in love with Jim. This cult they go to with Dwight. They eventually announce themselves. They fight with some of the crazies. Lee visits Barnes about discussing the virus. He's like, I'm not sick. I'm not a disease. I don't need a cure. This is a gift, and I'm going to use it. And when I get out of here, I'm going to kill Jim Gordon. Guilty. And she just walks out thinking, that he's crazy. Eventually you would think that would, in her mind, make her think that Jim did not kill her husband. She comes to her senses, but no, Lee still continues to think that Jim murdered her husband. Oswald ends up going to, his new chief steps office, and he's about to follow his coach, like, how could you do that? And Oswald picks up like a trophy or something and bashes him with it and kills him. Then he's calling for the interview. He sees his father, like holding the trophy, the ghost. He's like, Father? And she's like, but the people must know, Mayor Cobblepot, Mayor. He's like, and, Oswald says, the hell with the people. And Nigma is eventually able to be behind it because Nigma found out from Butch and Tabitha, able to find out that Oswald is in love with him, that he murdered Isabella. He doesn't want to kill him, he just wants to destroy him first, then do that, put him out of his misery. But you found out it was a man from Arkham he knew, named Basil Gore, who, impersonated Gordon toward the end of season 2. Impersonates Paul Rubens, just to make Oswald lose his mind. And it worked. Alfred takes Maria to a hotel. In gratitude, she gives Alfred a kiss. Tell it there's something maybe between them. I do like that moment where Alfred, Maria, and Bruce and Selena are having dinner, just talking and having a good time. And they tease Alfred by pickpocketing him. That was funny, I thought. Maria finds a man named Cole in the room, complaining that he needs money, almost threatening to kill her. Dwight ends up reuniting with a doctor, claims that they need for word. They end up stealing Jerome's corpse, or going to, and still smiling. He's like in a pod. Jerome's body is, and seems smiling. So we're going to get Jerome back, of course. They brought him back in the season, but that was that. So that's Ghost. And then another favorite of mine goes, Smile Like You Mean It. Dwight, members of the court, they enter this warehouse. Even when this security guard is going crazy too, stabs his other security guard. And they're just laughing. And Dwight, puts Jerome's body in a gurney, sets him to electricity. He's going to bring him back to life. And it says since people don't believe it, he cuts off Jerome's face, literally, and uses his Jerome's face as a mask. Despite these people, they don't believe it at first. He's like, no, we are all deep down Jerome. Cole goes to Wayne Manor, arriving $200,000, payment for Marie's debt. He'll make sure she goes to jail if they don't pay it, so they decide to help out and pay it. Bruce ends up giving the money to Maria, but of course she found out that Maria was lying the whole time. Jim and Gordon will end up finding out that they're going to resurrect him. Not resurrect Jerome. Caldwell eventually ends up quit being mayor, just goes to sleep in his house for a while after that. Tommy Bones, who eventually, I guess, has been working with Oswald before. They turn against him. They even kidnap Ed, so he could think, just to lure him in a trap, Because Barbara, working with them, wants to be like the queen of Gotham, pretty much. Dwight kills his assistant in frustration after, he's like, well, we all support you, He said you could do it, and he just kills him to shut him up. He's like, well, you make a good point. Cobblepot eventually confronts Barbara about it, the conspiracy, and of course she's able to use the whole thing with Enigma being him being a little Enigma, and so, Oswald's going to go to confront him. Tabitha eventually, was there to the point of God. Tommy eventually kills him. Gordon Bullock eventually investigates the mole who was, of course, working with them because they tackled the guy to the ground. Lee walks in though and puts him in with truth serum because they're about to beat it out of him, and Gordon gets on to her, says something to her about it, and then she's like, well, Jim, you destroy lives and you win lives and you can beat that and I can do that, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, Lee, shut up. At this point, every time we see her again, I just don't like Lee in this season at all. She's aggravating and annoying and bitch. I'm like, gosh. Eventually they do have Jerome's corpse, and Jerome comes back to life, by the way, so it did work. And he takes a prisoner. To be honest, I wish Jerome just would have stabbed and killed Lee. I would have been happy if she would have just fucking died, because I can't stand her. But she's telling Jerome that, no, him Gordon are out together, more Gordon, he's wearing like a face, like rubber face kind of, he's wearing. He's like, so you and Jim are not no more. Oh, that's sad. This guy has no showman at all, pretending to be me, because Dwight takes over a news station or whatever, and even Gordon calls him and says, you know what, Jerome never did need to wait. Bore me like you do. Maria and Cole, by the way, are really working together in a scam to give her some money, which works. Selena gets mad about it. Her mom didn't ever come back. And Bruce does realize that was a scam all along. And, Selena's mad at him. She punches Bruce in the face. She's like, come on, fight me. So they scuffle a little bit. He's like, just leave me alone, and walks away in anger. Toward the end of the scene, though, Jerome kills a cop, steals the station, and kidnaps Dwight. Jerome takes him to the power plant, is able to, nail up his face up together again. And he, pronounces himself on TV and blows the light up at the end. And they say because of that suffers a whiteout power outage because of Jerome leaving it in darkness. But overall, great. It was cool to see Jerome come back as well. It's a little bit more. And then the gentleman arc of making enemies. That's my favorite one. Following the power outage, the GCPD, gets filled up with criminals. They have to fight some criminals off. Cobblepot, eventually, Oswald arrives at the warehouse to save Enigma, and it's like, you should come along. He shoots them down, and he tells them that, I know you did it. He tells Oswald to the core, gonna kill him with acid or whatever. Until this cop comes over here, and he's talking, and, he's like, save me here, help me, Catherine and a court member who is James Renner, who reveals to be James Gordon's uncle, his father's brother. They say, let Gotham be like this for now, until he comes, worst will take control. And you find out, he plans to kill Bruce. He goes to breaks into Wayne Manor. They stole his owl earlier in the episode, and he breaks the owl. And they kidnap Bruce. The followers try to kill Alfred, but Gordon shows up and they fight them off and kill them. Jerome takes him to a ball service because Jerome was, raised in a circus. And Jerome's having fun by teasing Bruce, and it's like, kills the guy by throwing a bunch of water piranhas. He's like, you want to kill someone, kill me. And he's got to tape his face back with a nail gun. He uses the nail gun on Bruce. He's like, puts his arm, like Bruce's eye fell at pain. He's like, oh, you feel the pain, don't you, Brucey boy? Jerome kills one of his followers by stabbing him. He's like, come on, put a smile on that face of blood. Butch, he goes up to his father's mansion and sees Tabitha and Butch there, and they tease him. Butch is like, you're just number 2 guy, a dummy. Butch, and it's like, really? And Butch was like, don't kill him, Barbara doesn't want that yet. And she's like, I remember killing your mother, Oswald, and you didn't do anything. And he's like, yet, Jerome has Bruce tied to a post, plans to eventually blow Bruce up. Bruce eventually is able to get like a little key or whatever, get out. And Gordon and Bullock and Alfred show up and they fight them off. Barbara tells Cobblepot that if he wants to live, because they capture him or whatever, call a name in order to kill him, but he refuses to do that. Name reveals himself, and they plan to kill him. Well, Ed does. Bruce escapes into this house of mirrors at this circus. Him and Jerome falls in there. He's like, I'm here, Jerome, and Jerome sees the mirrors and shoots. Bruce toggles him behind. They fight a little bit. Bruce is able to get the upper hand, punches him, knocks his face out, and then comes close to killing him, and looks in the mirror and seems to see that he's almost about to become insane like Jerome. He's like, no, I won't let you do it. And Jerome comes out of the mirrors to shoot him, but Gordon knocks him out, just punches his face off literally. And Jerome ends up going to Arkham. Yeah. You do see him in season 4 next. Yeah. But I'd say the best thing about this season is seeing Jerome come back. You can say Bruce fails never to kill, tells never to feel justified, but Vince does the same thing. Even though Batman did kill in the comics, he does a little bit like code not to kill. I guess you say where he got it from here. Anyway, remember the quote, James Renier? He was in superhero shows like Black Lightning, and he wrote on the Arrowverse shows, and he also was in The Phantom, a superhero movie, playing a villain in that. And here he plays, Uncle Frank to Jim Gordon. Just comes to visit, say, "Hey, Jim," and Newman takes Goldpart to the harbor and says, "I don't love you, Oswald," and just shoots him and throws his dead body into the harbor. Alright, just one more favorite, and that is how the Riddler got his name. Now, I do admit, I do think Edward Newman became the Riddler too quickly, as the problem with this show, I think, is that, you do have the villains coming a little too quickly. That everything does feel rushed in the show. Pretty much after killing Oswald, so we think, pretty much, so we think, Newman is trying to find out his personality too. His ulterior kind of, find out who he is. Catches a professor in a lab, holds him at gunpoint, and asks him these riddles, and the guy gets the wrong set of riddles. You find out that Ed's been killing, the smartest people in Gotham, trying to prove that they're smart and geniuses, as he is, as he's looking for an enemy, to outsmart, because that's the whole point of Riddler. He needs an opponent, somebody that's smart to play with his riddles. And then he takes these pills, getting visits from a dead Oswald. Tell him, lose the riddles, like, no, that's part of my game. That's who I am. Newman knows who he is, he's just trying to figure out how to be that guy. I guess you can call Bruce's Wayne's doppelganger, by the way. They decide to kind of make him replace Bruce or whatever as part of their plan. Train him to know everything about Bruce. Or eventually for him to become Bruce Wayne. He just found out his enemy is Jim Gordon, but Jim Gordon is, of course, hanging out with his Uncle Frank, and although James Renier is talking to him about Gordon about the court itself, about his father. There's a chess exhibit going on, and Emma goes there and teases them and blows my sky and just laughs about it. And then he finds out that it was actually Lucius Fox that's him now, so you can see Fox as his enemy, Foxy as he called him. Tomorrow with the pawns on McQueen, you'll find my next target in the belly of the beast. His name tells him the riddle. Bruce gets a note from Selina, but doesn't really want to see her after what happened. Bruce refuses, but until, he decides to go see Selina. He fights with Sonny a little bit. Sonny's about, Sonny shows up like, Bruce, leave me alone. She walks away, then he fights with Sonny Gleason, who's Butch's nephew, and eventually they'll take him out, I believe. he's found by Five by his doppelganger who drugs him, and Bruce ends up getting kidnapped in return. And Five pretending to be Bruce Wayne. His doppelganger pretending to him returns to Wayne Manor. Bullock ends up attending a police academy. He sees Enigma. He's like, Enigma, we don't need a cop killer here. Enigma uses chloroform and knocks him out. He drugs Bullock, takes him up there, and he does this announcement. He throws this gas or whatever. He tries to give him a riddle just to have fun. Fox goes upstairs. Enigma's got these 3 ropes tied to a chair. And you're telling Bullock to a chair, threatening to kill him. 3 ropes, 3 riddles. You get him wrong, he dies. He gets 2 riddles, but he gets one right. And but the chair gets cut. The rope gets loose, cut off, and he's like, "Oops," and he's eventually able to catch Harvey. Even though Frank believes that the corrupt, it's gotten too corrupt. Even though, you found out that Peter Gordon, who was Jim Gordon's father, was also a member. And the court pretty much had him killed in the car accident. And, he goes to report to Catherine, the leader of the Corderos, that, they can get Jim to their side to join them, basically. Enigma gets, Fox confronts Enigma. Enigma confronts Fox in his car. Enigma, tells him, this is who I am, this is who I want to be, this is the guy that I'm meant to be. And he's like, I'm the Riddler. And knocks Fox out like this. He has last conversation. I forgot to mention at the beginning of the episode, Oswald, the hallucination Oswald, sings a song which I thought was pretty funny. But, the dead Oswald called up the hallucination tells him, no one is going to fear the Riddler. Not yet, but someday they will. Throws the pills away, puts the hat on with his green suit for being the Riddler, walks away. But you find out that Oswald, of course, is alive, but it's a big surprise. Is in Ivy's bed. She's like, you've been asleep for several weeks. He's like, I just remembered there's somebody I need to kill. And Bruce Wayne wakes up in a cell and discovers that he's in a window that maybe he's in Alaska, but it's in a snowy mountain, far away from Gotham. But overall, those were my favorite episodes of Gotham Season 3. So, yeah, a little bit more on the... Now I got my least favorite and okay ones. They're kind of both of a mixture, but I'll go ahead and get to those. I gotta change my phone here, folks. Sorry. I'm doing a video. I'm doing a video. Okay. Thank you, though. Alright, now on to my okay least favorite episode. Sorry about that. My dad will make sure I have some food. Another okay one is called This episode I thought was alright, or almost at least favorite. And that is called Looking Into My Eyes. At the beginning, you see Jarvis Tech, or aka the Mad Hatter, performs in him and his show to these people, makes this guy do a handstand, and bringing Mad Hatter in here, again, for me, like bringing Firefly and Mr. Freeze in Season 2, it just, for this show, I just feel like they do rush with the Batman villains in this show, and that's one of my main problems with it. But anyway, he hypnotizes this guy, calls him later, uses hypnosis on him, gets the guy to attack his wife, and kill himself, and I guess you could say takes her house, I guess. And his intentions are to, of course, kidnap his sister. He's left searching for his sister Alice. He even goes to Jim Gordon to hire him for it. Bruce's doppelganger, by the way, who reveals to be Bruce and Alfred, that, his name's Five. They talk to him, give him food, but they decide that they need to call somebody, Gordon, to get this freak out of here. They let him stay over. He watches Bruce and Selena or whatever, because he hides, listens to their conversation. He cuts his hair, pretends to be Bruce, talks to Selena, and she kind of gets along with him. And then Bruce and Alfred confront him about what he's doing. He jumps off the ledge, because apparently this kid's immoral or whatever. Meanwhile, Alfred is, after he slept with Valerie, he goes to collect his bounty, runs into Lee, who just says, "How you doing? Have you been?" That she's returning to GCPD. She was worried about it at first, but, Barnes informs her that he's not working there anymore. Cobblepot eventually, criticizes James for how he does it and says that he goes to Valerie, to report Valerie, and tells the reporters that he's deciding to run for mayor. Eventually, Gordon gets attacked by these goons because he's searching for Alice. Gordon fights them off. He gets a big bad knock on the head. Mario, he meets Mario who, faces him up. He tells Mario, "I'm happy for you, but if you ever break a heart, I'll kill you. Have a nice day." Cobblepot meets with Aubrey James in a restaurant. He's like, "No one's going to kidnap me or put my hand in a box again." He's like, "Cobblepot, well, I'm prepared to." Cobblepot is like he's got 3 men who have a gun, James does, but Cobblepot, everybody in there has a gun at him. And even puts a little pen on him saying, Cobblepot for mayor. Gordon, who was looking for his sister, eventually finds out that Tesh has been lying to him, but Tesh uses, this watch to hypnotize people, or whatever. "Watch my eyes, don't look into them, don't do this." I'm like, okay, or simply you can use a cord to just put it on his head or whatever, I guess, control over him. He's like, "Jim, you want to end your pain." Almost gets going to jump off until Alice shows up and saves Gordon from dying. She burns and then kills a man, by the way, because with his fire she got her asshole, tenant tries to, rape her or whatever, gets infected by the virus, and gets killed and burned by her, Gordon. She saved Gordon, but even though Gordon, handcuffs her. But overall, an okay episode, but I'm just not a fan of it. Alright. And then another okay one is called New Day Rising. But anyway, yeah, they talked to Alice. She told her about her brother, about being at Indian Hill, and Tetch, plans to, he gets these Goonies or to go in there and get her, gets these wrestlers, gets mind control over them. Meanwhile, Oswald is still planning on running for mayor. Again, like I said, he gets out of prison. Oswald has a connection to get out of prison thanks to threatening the warden. Like I said, nobody doesn't trust Bush about giving money. Name Trace Payne, a little girl, tells him to stay out of his campaign, but as I say to you, if you think people really trust you, that you should meet a girl like you. These wrestlers, they attack the GCPD, and Gordon's gonna, take him down. He's like, he hypnotizes Gordon again, gets in his mind, and he's like, I doubt I'll be seeing you again. And Gordon has a gun in his hand, is about to, pull that trigger until Bullock knocks him out. They put him on safety watch, and this is where Lee starts saying, I don't want you in danger, you left me, you did this, you did blah, blah, blah. Again, her, not being the way she does become in the season. Lee complaining about, Jim leaving and all that stuff, and I just hear his whining to me, blah, 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 and they go find Tetch. They have what he's going to do to his sister. Gordon, he gets to control of Gordon. Gordon almost stands up there and gets shot, but Gordon shoots the glove like, no, fights it off, and eventually, while fighting with Alice, though, Tetch accidentally kills his own sister, where she falls like on a pipe and lands on her death. Eventually, Enigma does help Oswald win the election, even though Butch is like, this idiot got in the way, he's going to kill him. Then he berates Butch about it, and that's when you got the Red Hood episode next after this. But Barnes ends up, going next to the pipe where her blood falls on him, and he gets, his eyes turn gray, fine, and the blood is now on him now. But overall, just, like I said, even in this episode, he's still an ass. Lawrence is. Then another okay one is called Follow the White Rabbit. You have this couple that gets married. Jarvis Tetch kidnaps them. Jarvis Tetch kidnaps them and uses them as a pawn for Gordon, and also this little boy. He calls Jim, telling him to make a choice. These two people, you could save them. You can run up the stairs, go save them, or this little boy you hit by a bus. Make a choice, Gordon. Make a choice to save the boy, but in slow motion. This kind of reminds me of Batman Forever a little bit, where Riddler made Batman choose to save Robin or Chase. I'm like, yeah, I've seen this kind of before, but even though this time he can't save the couple who Gordon feels guilty about, And I don't care about the whole thing. Enigma telling his servant that he has feelings for Enigma, which I don't care about, but that's just me. There's always a scene where Gordon ends up in this building getting a call from Tetch, and he hangs up on him, and Tetch just gets mad, like, every time, just, this thing hangs up on him, he's like, just talk to Gordon, and he's like, yeah, it just makes him look stupid, and it's funny, as well. I thought it was funny. Tetch ends up kidnapping Valerie, kidnaps, Valerie and Lee. They change the bathroom, they're trying to get out. She tries to interview her, they have a bit of a talk. He wants to make Gordon prove who he loves more, Lee or Valerie. He's like, shoot Lee, okay. And then he shoots Valerie. Mario tries to sneak in with a gun, but like an idiot, doesn't know that there are bullets not in it, of course. Tetch was smart enough to know that. But this whole Tea Party thing I thought was lame, and yeah, I didn't care about this at all. But Valerie ends up going to the hospital to get checked on. Yeah. Then another okay one is called The Red Queen, or Red Queen. Valerie ends up in the hospital. She deduces that Gordon does love Lee. He's like, we're done. He was right about you. And that's the end of Valerie. We don't ever see her again. Which is, again, this... Yeah, I'm like, really? You had a good character, Valerie. Jamie Chung was really gorgeous and very good actress. And I'm like, really? Wasted here? I think she could have been a love interest for him. You could have done a lot more with her character. I like the whole fact that, you could have had more storylines, but no, the writers just bring her in as a love interest and say goodbye. So now after she tells Gordon, oh, you're in love with Lee, you don't like me at all, he was right, you're trouble, So that was the end of Valerie, his quick relationship with her. Tetch ends up stealing the Red Queen, where he wants to infect people with the virus, his sister's blood, I think after kidnapping her, or stealing her corpse, or whatever. He goes to the dinner party, he runs into Penguin, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. Like, watch where you're going. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, he says. Bruce prepares to get a date with Selena. She ends up being late, but they end up going to eat anyway. Tetch pours the Red Queen on Gordon. Enigma, meanwhile, does meet a woman named Isabella who retracts her resemblance to Miss Kringle and starts to fall in love with her. Ed tells Oswald, I think I'm in love, and he tries to tell her about him being in Arkham Asylum, but she's not somewhat bugged by it, even though she looks that up. But I thought was the best part about Gordon's, dream life, where in this train he ends up seeing, visions of him in the war, like with Oswald being there with him, and he sees his father, he sees that he's in married life with Lee, they have 2 children, the whole thing with Bruce's parents, and he was strange and happened that he could have been married to her and stuff, and Barbara's there too. He dresses her up as a sexy nurse and a nun, which I thought was funny. Talks to his father about the kind of man he needs to be. That's what we Gordons live by. That's what we do. We found out that Mario, by the way, I was going to say, was also infected with the virus. Yeah. But well, okay episode. But the best part about it was Gordon coming back to the GCPD and eventually becoming a better cop. Trying to realize that he is a cop. But that was good. The whole hallucination thing. The best part about the episode, in my opinion. Then another okay one was Time Bomb. Ivy used her poison to control Alfred's mind to get her out of there, because she escapes from Wayne Manor. Because her and Selena and Bruce are there too. And it had been a couple of days. They find out about this Whisper Gang. They tell them about this Keys Destroy the Secret Council, Echo the Korg Owls, that they're not his enemy. So they decided to help him out, that Bruce, even though he did agree to leave the Korg Owls alone, but now that he has this advantage of these people who turn against him, that they can use their help to defeat the Korg Owls. And, eventually continue his investigation into the murder of his parents. Nigma kidnaps and tortures Bruce and Tabitha, cuts off Tabitha's arm, and he says, Nigma, I shot your girl in the head. He's like, well, shot? No. And Barbara even investigates, even almost threatens Penguin. Penguin's like, I'll forgive you for that, but you don't ever threaten a gun to me again, I'll kill you. As she does find them, telling them, Barbara does find them, but Nigma realizes he gets some blood for that hand. And then at the end, Barbara realizes that he's in love with it. You know what? We can use it against us. We can take control ourselves. And Butch agrees. And they decide that they can defeat Penguin. Take him down. Lee comes to Gordon, saying goodbye to him, and you give him a kiss, just a kiss. Mario ends up seeing her leave the office. He found out, like I said, that he's got the virus. He's like, she loves him, she loves me, she loves me. And he attacks these two murders, even, surrounds with this, like, she loves me, not him! And then his jealous rage kills these two murderers. And then another one was called Beware the Green-Eyed Monster. Mario meets this man at a bar who was working on Tesh's blood. He wants to talk to this man about the virus, but he refuses. So Mario kills him in an alley, crushes his skull to death. You found out that the guy that they met earlier about the key to the courthouse to help them, they get killed by an assassin, Talon, I think. Barbara visits him, at his father's mansion, telling him that Oswald's not loving me, but he finds a way to prove it by saying, Oswald, I don't like you in that way. I don't love you just as a friend. Realizing that Barbara might tell the truth, he says to turn against Oswald. Even he imagines kind of like stabbing Oswald, or killing him, basically. They decide to break into this building where the court possesses, because they want to steal something out of it. Gordon investigates this lab. He gets a tab at Mario, who he doesn't see, because Mario's like behind him. Taps him quickly. He doesn't have time to look at Mario's face. eventually kind of, says Hillary to kill her, eventually revealing Gordon that it's Mario. Gordon has Mario tested, but Fox refuses it, but they can't prove him, they don't proof of it. But Mario was able to slip the test, and basically making him look like a jealous lover, or jealous ex, sorry. Gordon arrives at the wedding because, Mario has him cornered by Tess. I mean, not by Tess, by, the SOB's name, Zaz. Zaz is like, okay, I was supposed to go for a few minutes, Jim. You can go now. Give me the bride, give my best wishes. He punches Zaz in the face for it. I forgot to mention in one episode where after he killed Mario, even Zaz says he didn't like Mario. He's like, good shot, by the way. Because he didn't like Mario himself. But anyway, goes to the waitress to convince her, tells her about that he's infected with the blood, that he loves her. She's like, how dare you tells me now, tells her about he tried to visit her, that he left, and she's like, how dare you? She slaps him, and they escort him out of the wedding. And Gordon fights with these two guards, gets beaten up though, and thrown out. Don't mess with Falcone, they say. Mario gets infected with the virus. He still talks to Lee, saying, do you still love Jim? He's like, no, I married you, but part of me still does care for Jim. And that just fits into the jealousy raise. The infection comes up. He's like, she loves him, not me. She loves him, not me. So, Mario decides, he's going to stab and kill her. Gordon walks in and is like, Lee! And before he, can do the stabbing, he shoots him. Gordon shoots Mario right in front of Lee, and Lee's like, shocked, but he saved her life. And in self-defense, it was a legit kill. So yeah, he didn't murder him, it was self-defense, or legit kill, if you could say. But overall, just an okay episode in my opinion. Alright, next is These Delicate and Dark Obsessions. Okay. The court decides to get this weapon. They want to destroy the city, to cleanse it, basically, and that is by, By the way, Bruce is in the Snowy Mountain meeting this man who is going to train him to fight or whatever, train him to deal with his pain, or to kind of get over his pain of losing his parents. Cobblepot tells Ivy called Gabe, he wants to talk about causing Coward. Gabe is happy to see him, was like, she said you don't trust me? Well, she was right. And he's going, you find out that he's going to sell Cobblepot over, get pictures of him, and since he's alive, they're going to make money off of him or whatever. So they decide to kill Gordon. But eventually Ivy's able to help out by using her perfume and getting this guy to kill them, except Gabe. He talks to Gabe, and Gabe's like, boss, I would do anything to be in your good graces. And Ivy makes him tell the truth. And, he tells him, he's using the truth serum on Gabe. Basically, her perfume tells him, do you want to order a penguin again? He's like, no. He's like, why? Because I'm afraid of him. He's like, fear and respect, I can live with that. He's like, no one respected you. We only fucked you because we were afraid of you. We saw you nothing for what you truly are, he says to Oswald. Gabe says, no, a freak. A tiny freak with an umbrella, nothing more. And Oswald's like, grabs a weapon, and in the plant house, grabs weapons like, a freak, huh? A freak, and he starts beating him, cutting him, and killing him. A freak, overkills, basically. Bruce tries to escape from this place, but he can't get away, because it's like, run around. And this man makes him see hallucinations of his parents' death, parents' wake, and having him to fight this pain. You find out Frank did order the hit. It was followed because he's threatening to expose the court. But his own Frank eventually says, your father would have been proud of you, then kills himself. Tells Gordon to stop the court, to defeat the courthouse, take them down. It's the Shy Man or whatever that tells Bruce that he needs to be a symbol of fear or a protector for Gotham. And I thought this was a bit too early, though. The whole thing with Bruce by the courthouse being trained by this man, it's just too early for him to be trained. I mean, he's like 15. Too early. Too early, I think. Gordon visits his father's graves, receives a call from Catherine that he killed his Uncle Frank, and he goes to the limo, and then the episode ends there. But overall, just an okay episode. Okay, guys, just a couple more and I'll be done, I promise. And then the next one is the primary riddle. Call upon and Ivy go to Arctica. They find Victor Freeze, aka Mr. Freeze, try to talk to him about helping him, but he refused at first because of him being mayor, he had to leave Gotham. But he's like, well, we're going to take over Gotham now, and I need your help. And they have a suit. He's like, okay, I'm with you. Even goes to Firefly and Bridget, telling her, you don't have to be like this anymore. You can be free. You can join us, be a part of us. And so she kills her boss by throwing a fireball in his face. They want to prove Gordon, since Gordon is kind of like going in the cover trying to find out what they're up to. And now that, of course, by this time, Edward is being the Riddler now, they want to know about the Corvallis, the organization. So Newman starts to investigate, starts to make a show out of it, goes to an opera house and, stabs Shakespeare, basically. And leaves a girl for them to find out. Five, or Doppelganger Bruce, wherever, discovers that he's winning in, calls the court, telling him that he needs to be fixed. And that you found that he's dying. Because he's just a clone and he's never very long to live. They find out that Nim is after Mary James. They try to protect Mary James. He eats these donuts, which are laced with poison, I guess. Or they see as a riddle. Just to kind of pass him out for a bit, there's a distraction in the hospital. James, the Riddler ends up kidnapping him. Nim reveals that he's going to kill James if he doesn't find out who the court is. So Catherine calls him to, go bring Edward Newman to them. That's part of your test. Newman goes there, but thanks to Tabitha, who, doesn't like, who hates Enigma for cutting off her hand mostly, helps Gordon out, And they're even mad at Barbara for helping and joining up, and Enigma makes her mad. And, thinking about loyalty, Enigma gets mad. And he ends up freeing James because Gordon tells him about it. I like the moment scene where Gordon tells him, Ed, I remember when you came over, Chris and Kringle came over for dinner, those were good times. But eventually the court shows up and they put, they take him and put him in a cage. But Jim did prove his loyalty. So now he's welcome to join the court. They even give him one of their masks. Eventually the doppelganger reveals himself, revealing saying that he's Bruce. She's like, I'm going to go tell Alfred, but he pushes her, and these cats come. It kind of reminds me of Batman Returns a little bit. Eventually at the end, Gordon becomes a member. Then another okay one in my opinion is called Light the Wick. Barnes gets his quote about orderlies outside the prison, but he fights them off, fights one of, Calhoun, I guess, one of the assassins. The assassin, drugs him. He ends up in a comatose state, passed out. And Catherine tells him that she can help him, that she wants him to become the judge or executioner. So he said to have Hugo Strange do some work on him. We're taking some of his blood as well for more, because they want to use it as their weapons. They take some of his blood sample and stuff. And Lee is determined to find out that Gordon murdered his uncle. She's like, you leave destruction in your wake. Every time you see this woman, she's a complete bitch. Every time to everybody, to her, Bullock, to Lucius, every time I say something, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm just so sick of Lee. I don't even want to talk about her. Ivy uses her perfume on a nurse to find out about Selena, that she won't make it, so she brings these, turns her hospital room into a garden. Eventually Selena gets back up, goes to fight with, get revenge basically on the doppelganger, who he realizes is not Bruce. 5 knocks him out. Eventually Oswald reveals himself to Gordon, wants to know Enigma's location to find where he's at. And she tells him the weapon is the tech virus, which is like a bomb. It's going to blow around. When it blows, everybody, the Gotham will be infected with it. Bruce is training with the She-Man, who was, getting close to teaching Bruce. Bruce is becoming a better fighter, learning to resist pain and stuff. Gordon and Bullock end up going to this man who has this virus, kind of like a zombie attacks men, but Hugo Strange help him out, and, they talk to Strange about it. They're going to sell the bomb, but Gordon says to go stop it, so him and Selena fight until Bridget shows up and she kills him with a flamethrower. Cobblepot eventually gets kidnapped and jailed, and by the court reuniting with a shot Enigma, who's like, Ed, you're alive. And Oswald just looks at Enigma and tries to grab him, but can't get him through the cage. And realizing that, after, Kevin says to have Barnes eventually himself kill him, he's like, he is guilty, and I will be his executioner, as Barnes says, he's going to kill him. Then another okay one is all will be judged. Cold and them confront each other. They kind of talk and like, well, you didn't want to kill me. You should have killed Isabella. They confront back and forth. They fight. He shoots. Ed shoots Oswald with the dart, knock him out, but tries to get escape. And Oswald, even knocked out, was able to make some noise. The others can get him. They beat him to a pulp almost, but they realize that they must work together and that they will continue to fight and kill each other afterwards. So they were able to pull a trick with like applesauce or whatever for blood, and they escape, kill the guards, and it's like, okay, we're out here. It's like, Oswald, we'll see each other later, we'll fight again. They just both part ways. Lee, by the way, has a dream about Mario putting like blood on her in her last drink, cutting his wrist. Gordon and Bullock they find this crystal owl which uses these lights. They discover a map of Gotham City where it's going to be at, and these attacks are going to happen. The champion takes, Bruce to another hallucination. This time brings him other pearls, like lock him up, lock the memory up. He portrays to him to his memory about his parents, the core responsible for his parents' death, and that he, really respected Thomas and Martha Wayne. He kills the man, stabs him. Gordon has a fight with Barnes, who Barnes even goes up into and messes up and destroys the GCPD. And him and Gordon fight. Gordon's like, Jimmy Gordon, you were hereby executed and judged and tried. Gordon plays the trigger as ever get like a grenade off of him, distraction, and Barnes just escapes out of there and jumps out of the window. Barnes has got like this axe or something for a hand, and he fights with Gordon and Bullock and them, and Alfred. I think Alfred too. He shoots it off. He's like, I'm my own judge, by the way, and he knocks him out like a badass. Gordon does. Eventually, Barnes escapes custody, and that's the last time we ever see him, I believe. After this, you don't see Michael Chopsticks again in this show. Lee took the virus, and she injects herself with it, and then she gets infected, and the episode ends there. And then my next okay, or least favorite one, or whatever we'll call them, they're kind of the same thing. This time, it was, Pretty Hate Machine, okay. The showman and Bruce meet with the members of the court to discuss the Wayne murders, even though they said that they don't really feel bad for their actions. The showman tells Bruce to call in the order for them to be murdered, but it happens so he does this, and they slit their throats, killing the core vowels. I forgot to mention Catherine, the leader of them. She gets on Barnes' nerves to burn, beheads her, chops her head off. Nigma tells Barbara Butch, Tabitha, that Cobblepot is alive. And then he's planning to come and kill, because in his eyes we're all guilty, so he's going to kill all of us. They do go to his house, though, and try to attack him. He's like, you're going to call me the Riddler. He's like, I'm not calling you that stupid name. But Oswald has a backup plan and escapes. Gordon arrives at Lee's house and tries to find the infected. She's like, come on, Jim, you want me, you want to be with me. She even chokes him and knocks him out and kidnaps Gordon. They try to, reason with Bruce, try to find him, but Bruce refuses. He's kind of become painless now and, just uptight now, kind of like Batman almost. But Bruce, they arrest Strange for it, and, even, I liked it, the scene where Alfred interrogates him about it, have him hang over Goldie, with his ties, like, to find out more information about Bruce and all that, the court, and he knocks him out. Lee eventually arrives, telling him that she put Gordon, in a cell. They got guns pointing at her, and she's dangerous now. And she's like, calm down, everybody's jumping here. And, she pretty much gave, Jim, you can die in that coffin, you can permanently, or, you can, she leaves him that he can take the drug, take the virus, and escape out of there. Gordon doesn't want to give them, but since he's close to dying and Bullock can't find him in time, he does take it and strong enough to get and breaks out of there. Cobblepot and Ivy ends up getting really the location of where they're at, like an idiot, to where they're at. Butch, Tabitha show up, and Barbara tries to kill him. But then Fishman arrives, and she ends up taking Cobalt with her, that they're going to be like partners and work together. The Shaman wants Bruce to detonate the bomb, even though he, pushes Bruce's hands, like, detonate the bomb, and, Alfred shoots the Shaman. He tells him that you need to go to this place or whatever. Bruce agrees. To this UN building to find the demon's head, which is aka Ra's al Ghul. And the virus explodes and throughout the whole city, and Bruce ends up getting taken into custody. He attacks Alfred as well. But GCPD gets their hands on Bruce, take him to the GCPD. As now the city will go in madness with the virus tech going on them. Alright, and last two-parter episodes, well, this was 2-hour event, but also about, one of each. Gotham City ends up falling to chaos with this elderly lady wanting money, so she attacks. They get Bruce, and he's trying to tell Bruce, you're not like this. This is not the kind of person the man you should be. He's like, I love you, Master Bruce, like a son. And I like that relationship between him and Alfred, as Alfred is the only family he's got, But Bruce eventually escapes custody thanks to Alvarez, one of the GCB officer who loses it, who's infected with the virus, attacks and kills some of the officers. And then Bruce is able to get out and escape. Gordon and Bullock eventually, because Strange tries to leave, but Fish grabs them. They try to stop her. Gordon and Bullock do. He's like, give me him now. And then they see there's like, oh, nice to meet you there, Jim Gordon. And even Hugo Strange is laughing about it. Mr. Freeze tries to freeze at them, is going to freeze them, but using the strength he has from the virus, Jim is able to jump up and grab a pipe and stop the freeze. Even punches, the ice and breaks it. And then Cobblepot does get his revenge on Strange by using this weapon, this device that Strange used him, so he used it on Strange. I always love it when Strange. I think he's funny though. Peter Wong always does a good job here. I think he would be great in a live-action movie for Hugo Strange. I would definitely love to see him cast. It probably never happened, but he'd be good. But I always like it when he says, "What?" Just how he says it, I think is funny. And they're trying to get the antidote for the virus. They have members of League of Shadows or League of Assassins who work with Ra's al Ghul. They fend off the assassins, Gordon and Bullock Gordon kills many of them with like a badass, but eventually, in the movie, stabs and kills Fish Mooney, and Fish Mooney's like, you damn fool, and she passes out, and it's like, Oswald's like, no, starts crying over her death, and she's like, Oswald, you either save the city or you burn it to the ground, and she dies, and he's like, you're a monster, you call me one, and, he chokes Oswald, he's like, I am a monster, until Bullock knocks him out. And Lee is waiting on him to use it. Lee is waiting on, for Gordon to accept it and be with her. Bruce finally discovers the building, goes in there. Lee just tells him to go there, and he meets Glowing Pole, which is, of course, and then he meets Ra's al Ghul. Explains that he's been alive for a very long time, and you know what? It's Ra's al Ghul, Christopher Nolan. Now, I do feel like the show they rushed. Like I said, this character rushes with villains, but at least they got it right. Ra's al Ghul, the Lazarus Pit, living for many years, for over 600 years, Ra's al Ghul has lived. With the Demon's Head, they got that right, which in the Lazarus Pit, which is the character of Ra's al Ghul. It's not Roz, it's Ra's, Christopher Nolan. That's how you get the character. And plus the actor, I think, Alexander Zadig, he looks like Egyptian-ish. He looks like an Egyptian to me, so, the color of his skin, which is perfect for Ra's al Ghul. Not just some white guy named Henry DeGard. But he gets Bruce to stab Alfred. That's about it. Bruce snaps out of it. And the episode kind of ends there. Alright, now on the last episode. Yes, just one more to go. I know these have been like long videos. Sorry. Destiny Calling and Heavy Dirty Soul is the final episode of Season 3 of Gotham. And he basically wants Bruce to be his heir. This is why he doesn't kill him. He says, Bruce, another time we'll meet. But he lets him use the Lazarus Pit to save Alfred and leaves. Bruce takes him to the hospital. He's like, he's family. And Selena even comes by. He's like, Selena, we're done. Why do you even care? You don't care about me. He's like, whatever, have a nice life, Bruce. Gordon decides to leave with Lee. They go to the train station. Gordon and Bullock then take the Cobalt out of the cell, in order to bargain with them, but Enigma took Ted's planning on killing Cobalt once and for all. This makes Barbara mad. She calls Bruce and Tabitha idiots for not watching Enigma. And, this whole killing spree is going on, they're chasing each other. And, Ted finds it funny, but they're able to, give him a cut, to take the blood, take a sample, to get a cure. He tries to chat Lee with it, but Lee is able to seduce him with a kiss. Before the other, like, Harvey, leave me alone. He tosses Harvey, around the train area. He's like, you're a cop, that's who you are. You're my friend, your best friend I ever had, you're a good cop. You shouldn't be this way. Gordon adjusts himself with Lee and stuff in the bus. Like, what have you done? He checks himself and they sleep. Barbara confronts Bush about the betrayal. She shoots him in the head, revealing at the hospital that his name is Cyrus Gold. Tabitha uses her whip, and she gets an electric shock, which I thought was pretty funny, and kills Barbara. And at the end, she and Selena have a talk. Selena uses the whip, she used the whip to be Catwoman. And overall, that was pretty funny. Enigma, and Oswald end up in a police car. He's going to kill him, take him to the harbor, but Enigma reveals, there's no bullets in it, and Mr. Freeze, he's like, I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to remind you of a constant reminder that this is why I shouldn't love someone. So he has Mr. Freeze and freeze him, and then you see at the end that Oswald's going to have the Iceberg Lounge restaurant and have, name would be like a stand-in, basically be like for the opening of it. Then in the final scene, you have a young girl, family wandering through Crime Valley. get attached. Sony Vigilante is shown, and this Vigilante is going to be Bruce. So the next season he's going to be like Batman. So this is too early. Alright, overall, yeah, that was all the episodes of season 3, y'all. Okay, let me wrap it up here. But Gotham season 3, lackluster season in my opinion. I don't care for the season too much. There were some episodes I did enjoy, like Jerome from that was the best part about. But the whole thing with Lee being a bitch, I didn't like. The whole storyline of the core values was not interesting. I think that's more interesting Bruce's Batman. Bringing Rachel Gordon here, having Abby Riddler, it was just too much. It's like this show rushes everything, you know. I think, like some of the actors, like, do a good job and stuff, and I do like this poster and stuff. Yeah, good poster of the cast, but it just seems to me, why are you rushing this? It feels like it's just coming too fast. Everything with the show, they rush everything out. Why? I don't need rush characters in my show, but still I can enjoy some of it. It's not god awful, but some of it is just pretty lame. Yeah, about Kaylee's favorite. Yeah, some of these favorite. Yeah, some episodes are just not very good anymore, in my opinion. Gotham just became a bit lackluster after this. They should have just focused on season 1 and 2, those type of storylines, But having Bruce train and almost become a vigilante, no, he's way too young, And having Lee and him break up and this drama crap, I don't care about having Mad Hatter in here. I didn't care for Mad Hatter, to be honest. The actor, I think, did a right job, but it was just lackluster in my opinion. But anyway, guys, Gotham season 3, I'm going to give it a thumbs down, and I'm going to give it 2 out of 5 stars. Because if it went for Jerome, this season I think would have sucked completely. Some of it is boring, but there are some episodes that are good. But overall, just not a very good season of Gotham. I do like the lady that plays Ivy. The actress, she's beautiful, she's good, and funny. But overall, should have been a lot better. This is for me where Gotham starts to go downhill a bit. But anyway, guys, I have to show y'all something real quick. But before I do, I will tell you next I will be talking about give my thoughts as favorite episodes of Gotham season 4. So season 4 will be next. And let me end this here. Y'all ready? Happy Halloween, y'all. You see my face? You like it? Alright, guys, we all stay tuned for Gotham season 4. Hope you enjoy this episode. Hope y'all can hear me. Alright, guys, see y'all later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.